Weeks 3 and 4 post-top surgery recovery have been so much better than weeks 1 and 2. Just a completely different animal. I've been able to leave the house almost every day. Some days I was so tired I didn't really want to leave the house. But some days I've had so much energy, I've been able to be out of the house all day. I can cook for myself again. I can empty the dishwasher if I use a step stool to get the dishes up to the shelf. Really, my support system is no longer on call. I can drive again, finally. I would say it probably took me all 4 weeks to feel really confident in driving. I can sleep on my side again, not for very long, and it doesn't feel great, but it was so hard for me to fall asleep for a while when I couldn't, be in the positions I wanted to. I'm still really excited to start getting stronger and moving more because it feels really, really good. And I can dance again a little bit. I have to be careful not to get too wild with my arms, but my hips can move again, so that's that's really good. Just really pacing myself has been good practice these past few weeks. And there's definitely been some days where I overdid it, and then the next day or two I would be really tired and kind of sore and cranky. And then I would eventually recover and overdo it again. Learning how to walk without jarring my incisions too much was a really big development. It turns out the key is that isometric abs. Because when the abs are engaged isometrically, it absorbs the impact of your footstep a little bit. It's like a shock absorber in a car. So if you're out walking and you're like, oh my god, just try and engage your abs and do a glide. My pain has been super fine. I would say I'm not in any pain anymore unless I do something kind of hasty without thinking about it. And it's nothing. The occasional Tylenol doesn't help. I do also want to name, as a part of this process, I have gained weight because I've been eating and not moving very much, and that's triggering my internalized fat phobia. And I actually had a neighbor comment on it, and I was like, I don't know you. But I've been talking to my therapist about it, and I keep reminding myself that thinness is a white supremacist beauty standard. It's one I've been indoctrinated into with coercion and shame my entire life. So it's taking a long time to let go of. And that's okay. And I don't need to judge myself for having those feelings. And I also don't need to listen to them as if they're fact. Oh, and I do want to say something that's really helped me with my internalized fat phobia and shame feelings around having gained weight is a lot of really beautiful fat activism on Instagram. There's a shout out to Soft Queer Soft Bellies. A shout out to the Fat Sex Therapist on Instagram. Just a big healing community of people who are really living their truth and doing incredible work, and I'm so grateful to them. And grateful to my collabo friend Asher for bringing me lots of food and helping me make these videos and sharing them with the world. And we're going to show you now some stretches and leg strengthening exercises that are safe and appropriate to do in the 3 to 4 week window of recovery. And we give week-long windows, but everybody's body is going to have its own schedule and its own different schedule, and that's going to dictate your range of movement and your activities on any given day. So yeah.
The first stretch that Brian's going to do is called a figure 4. There are a lot of ways you can do this, but the way that we are going to do it today is sitting down. So Brian's sitting upright on their bed. They're going to take their left ankle and set it on top of their right knee. Once in that position, they're just going to bend forward at the hip until they feel a really good stretch in the outside of the left thigh. Are you feeling that stretch?
I'm feeling that stretch. I'm really tight after a couple weeks of recovering. Yeah, oof.
With each of these stretches that we do, we suggest that you hold the position for a total of 60 seconds, but you'll probably want to break it up into either 2 rounds of 30 seconds or even 4 rounds of 15 seconds, depending on your tolerance for the stretch. So this is a side lunge to stretch out the inside of the thigh. So Brian's taken a very wide stance, and they've shifted their weight towards the right side, bending at the right knee. Their torso is upright, and the inside of their left leg is getting a really nice stretch. So Brian is now demonstrating a V-sit, and this is really good for the whole back side of the legs and even the lower back. Their legs are out stretched wide. They're going to lean forward with their hands flat on the mat, hinging at the hip as far as they're able to go forward. They were trying this earlier without the towels underneath their knees, and noticed that their calves were really the only thing that were getting stretched. So if your calves are what you're focused on, you can start off there, and then when you're ready to move up the leg and stretch the hamstrings, a little bend in the knee can help you reach your hamstrings. So Brian's now demonstrating a front lunge, which is a stretch for the top of the front of the thigh. It's called a hip flexor. So they're going to make sure that their back isn't arched, and they'll do that just by bracing their abs, bringing their belly button towards their spine. And then they're going to push forward with their butt, with their hips, to get that nice stretch. Can you point to your hip flexor?
Right here.
Yeah.
Right here.
How's that stretch feel?
It's really good. It's very intense. I think, oh my gosh, engaging my butt helps so much.
So for this last stretch, Brian's going to be focusing on really just releasing tension and stretching the low back. And the way they're going to do that is lying on their back as they are, pulling their knees towards their chest, not putting too much strain on their arms as they do that. And they're rocking side to side, which you can do. You can also make circles with your legs. And breathing's cool.
Breathing's my favorite.